So I've looked up all the different tricks and tips on how to do this, and so far I haven't found a great solution compared to what I've been doing myself. So I thought I would make a video and post it up for people who are having the same problem. So what we're trying to do here is replace the exhaust bellows, obviously without removing the outdrive. Of course, Merc makes a great tool for attaching the bellows, but you have to have the outdrive removed to even use that tool. I've seen a couple different ways of doing this. I've just straight up muscled it and fought with it for 2 hours at a time to get it on there. They're all pretty painful, but this is what I've been doing, and I'll see if I can make sure you guys can get a good look at it. It's a pretty simple trick. So far, it turns this attaching, to the outdrive section anyway, a 10-minute job. The only catch is it's a two-person job. At some point, I think I'm going to try and see if I can string it up and do it myself, but so far with two people it's a very, very quick and easy job. So as you can see here, I already have the bellows in place. I guess you can't really see the inside there, but it's already cemented in on the transom side. And what I've done here, let's see if I can try and show you this. If I stretch this out a bit, pretty simple trick. All I did was take a couple zip ties and loop them around nice and snug, but then I ran additional zip ties through that. So I tightened it down real snug. I left myself 2 or 3 ribs over here so that I have enough to work with when we try to work it onto the port on the drive side. I sneak through another loop here, and then I put another loop on that, and then on this side did the exact same thing. So what I have here now is a very, very easy way to grab a hold and pull back and stretch that bellows out. So what you can't see really well here, and what I will show you when I have my help here, is that this is leaving me enough slack to actually reach the port no problem. So the idea is, you have your partner grabbing a hold of each one of these zip ties, pulling back as hard as they can, and I'm underneath going upward with a screwdriver from here, and with a little bit of grease around this. Once you've cleaned off that port really well, put a little bit of grease inside here. It'll slip right on nice and easy, and you can go straight up with your screwdriver, turning the clamp off to the side over here so it's pointing downward, and you got plenty of room. And like I say, attaching here to the front and cementing it on, that's a 15-minute job after I take a Dremel and clean off that port. But now it takes attaching it to the drive, turns it into a 10-minute job, piece of cake. So I will finish the video when we attach and when I have my help here. Alright, so I just got a call from my partner, and it turns out he will not be able to make it here tomorrow, and I was hoping to have this wrapped up by then. And I figured, well, maybe I can possibly rig this thing up and try and do it by myself, and maybe not, but we'll give it a shot and see how it goes here. So just show you what I did. Pretty simple here. You can see where the zip tie is that I attached, and see I left myself at least a few of the ribs here and give me some flexibility. And you can see the zip tie loops, and what I did is I just grabbed some shrink wrap cord here and tied it around. But if you look inside here, you'll see that bellows is stretched right out. Let's see how we're doing under here. So we're stretched out here pretty good. and I'm already up against where it needs to go. So I already cleaned it all off with a Dremel, and then I did put a little bit of grease on the inside of the bellows here just to help me slip it over. You know, one thing that helps immensely with these too is if you take this washer clamp and kind of pre-bend it a little bit to an oval shape, keeping in mind where you want the, you know, the screw to be. So let me put the phone down for a second. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see me do this, but hold on for 1 second and we'll see if I can get this on here. So I've got my hands ready and a screwdriver ready. Alright, so that wasn't too bad. As you can see, we're reattached on here, and that only took me a minute or two to get it on there. What I did find to be helpful is another nice thing about these zip ties was I got it about halfway on there, but it really wasn't moved far enough onto the port that I was comfortable that it wouldn't slip back off again. So what I did was I came back out here, and then I just wrenched down on the zip ties, one on each side, a little bit more to pull even more pressure onto the bellows. And then I got it positioned on there all the way. And all that's left to do now is tighten the clamp up. So, let's see. You know, I'd never trust this with a screwdriver alone. I don't want this thing popping back off again. But that's it. And I hope it saves you some scratched hands and some headache, because I know I fought these more times than I care to count, and it's terrible. So all in all, this turned this replacement into, I would say, maybe a half-hour job.